Hola, hola, buenas noches a todos. Soy Tasha de Tasha Teaches Spanish y estoy aquí esta noche con parte uno de una serie, se llama Hablamos Español. So, hey everybody, good evening. I'm Tasha, Tasha Teaches Spanish, and I'm here tonight with part one of a series called Hablamos Español, or in English, We Speak Spanish. The purpose of this series is to highlight African-American women who fluently speak at least English and Spanish. Maybe they speak more. All right, so tonight our guest is Jenea Jordan out of Little Rock. She's been speaking Spanish for at least 8 years, and we're going to get to know more about her. Hola, Jenea.
Hola, how are you?
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Hola, mi nombre es Jenea Jordan y soy de Little Rock, Arkansas. Mis pasatiempos favoritos son viajando, cocinando, comiendo, claro que sí, y también aprendiendo sobre las culturas diferentes. Me gusta mucho esto. ¿Qué más? Oh, okay, so like you said, I'm Jenea Jordan. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. And some of my favorite pastimes or hobbies are cooking and eating for sure. I like to travel and I love learning about different cultures. So it's been just divine.
Okay, bueno, gracias por la introducción. Thanks for the introduction. All right, guys, so she hit you with some Espanol at first. Hopefully you knew what she was already saying before she gave you the translation in English. All right, Jenea, so I have about, 10 questions for you, so let's dive in, all right? So number one, why did you decide to learn Spanish?
It's actually really funny. When I was younger, my parents would like spell things out so that I wouldn't figure out, what they were talking about, and I would pick up on it. And so they switched to Pig Latin, and that fascinated me. I was floored. It got me. I know it wasn't a real language, but that was my I've got to figure this out. I've been fascinated with languages since. And so my mother actually, she took a lot of Spanish in school. And so she just started with me young with numbers and the alphabet and things like that. So,
that is nice. And so I kind of have a family component too. My brother told me to take Spanish when I went to college. And I'm like, okay, who cares? Because his point was, the world is so globally interconnected. And so I should do it. And I was like, okay, why not? I wasn't serious. But through not only my brother and my mother and father's encouragement, that's why I know it. So I get the family connection and that can start you on the path. So I get it. That's good. Okay. Número dos. How did you learn? Was it on your own, through a program, going to college? Maybe it wasn't just one way. So how did you learn Spanish?
Yeah, so initially, like I said, my mother with the early childhood education, as I was learning my numbers, she taught me in English and Spanish, but it was very limited, just to that. So as I got older, and opportunities to explore and cultivate my interests presented themselves, I took it in school and I just took it very seriously. I listened to songs in Spanish. I would watch Spanish movies. I kind of went out of my way and kind of out of my comfort zone to just feed this curiosity I had. But really I learned when I got to Spain. The first thing I learned when I got to Spain, even after taking Spanish for all those years in school, was that I did not speak Spanish.
Wow.
It was about 3 weeks of charades, but we got it together. We did.
So what was different? Why is it that when you got to Spain, you were like, oh, I don't know it. So what happened?
Well, it was because I knew pieces of the language. I had vocabulary and I knew the grammar, but it was fluidly putting it together and cohesively using it. I wasn't confident in speaking it. I was thinking, I couldn't get out of my head.
Yeah. And it's nothing like being dumped off. And even if it's not Spain, like being put in an environment where that's all they use, even if it's here, that'll wake you up. Yes, ma'am. I get it.
I remember I was so frustrated. I'm like, I do not know how to say scissors. And so I'm really trying. And my husband, listen, we got it together. We did. Those 3 weeks though, it was interesting.
So why did you even go to Spain? Just because, or was it for another reason?
I went to Spain. I went to undergrad in New York, and so that was my first bit of culture shock, if you will, because I was hit with different Spanish dialects that I wasn't used to here. I was meeting Dominicans, I was meeting Ecuadorians, I was meeting Argentinians, I was meeting Colombia. I was like, whoa. So that's where my ear was kind of trained.
Okay.
The very amazing, wonderful Dr. Claire Diamondanis actually talked me into it because I wasn't going. I'm like, I don't have no money. I can't do this. I'm not. I'm not. No. And she was like, listen, you have resources. You can do this. Like, if you're interested, you can do this. Like, and you know you've learned Spanish when you can BS in Spanish. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that was the goal. Then I said, okay, I gotta go abroad and get well enough to BS and joke around. Like that was the goal. And she was very instrumental in kind of really encouraging me to take that leap because I was like, no. And I went for a year. So it wasn't like a small decision to make. So but that was what did it for me. It was life-changing.
That is a nice story. Nothing like a good old college mentor. It's great. That's good. That's real good. Okay. So we got through that. What else is next? How do you keep the language fresh? How do you keep your skills sharp? You know, it's one thing to learn the language, but sometimes if you don't use it, you lose it. So how do you keep your skills sharp?
That's right. So sad to say, I don't as well as I should, but
Be honest.
Yeah,
That's good.
Right. I definitely need to practice more. So I join Facebook groups. I look for intercambios to just kind of have some conversation. I, again, kind of go out of my way in different parts of the city where there are more Spanish-speaking communities to kind of do my shopping and, get treats or just explore new businesses. So I do things like that. I also use Duolingo because I am also attempting to learn 2 other languages. So I try to keep playing or keep at least all of them kind of on a working level, but I am focusing on another language right now. So it's not as fresh.
Okay, but no, thank you for your honesty because I think that's one thing that people think or expect, once you reach a certain level of fluency, or maybe people on their own feel that way, I'm prestigious, I know it all, I got it. But no, it can go up and down even for us as Spanish speakers. So that's good, that's honest. Honesty matters. That's good.
Yes, I will say my conversational Spanish definitely because I read and write in it pretty regularly for work. But again, that's very technical. So as far as like every day in conversations, I'll be like, oh, hold on, what's the word? Like, give me a minute. Or it might go into a little Spanglish, But then I bring it back, it just takes some practice. You have to, it's everything like a muscle, just like anything, you have to work it out and practice.
In the job I have now, outside of Tasha teaching Spanish, I work with Latinos through the weekend, so that's what helps me now. But before, when I was only a Spanish teacher at a charter school, it was kind of weakening because I didn't immerse them like the whole class. I did 50-50. So I was speaking quite a bit of English, and it was baby English. So or baby Spanish. Sorry, what I was teaching them. So I wasn't sharp either until I got this job, and now I have to. So it comes and goes. I get it. Okay, next up. What was most difficult for you to learn when you first started?
To get out of my head. And just start using the language, because I had it in my head like, okay, I had to learn everything. Like I had to get everything and get it all together. Okay, now all my vocabulary, could get all my grammar rules and then try to get it, nice and neat and try to use it in a certain way. And it doesn't work like that. It does not. And so being comfortable with making mistakes and understanding like that's what comes with it. Like you got to use it and get comfortable with it and make the mistakes and just keep going, and you'll learn and grow and pick it up. So it was really getting out of my head and like, girl.
Yeah, I encounter that when I have students or clients and they're like, I don't want to sound dumb. No, sound dumb. That's the only way you're going to eventually sound correct. So yeah, that's good. Getting out of your head. It's getting out of your own way.
And here, like, I love to hear Spaniards say like Spider-Man because they say it's Spider-Man and things like that. So it's really cute.
What is it?
Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Yeah, that is Spider-Man. Or what else do they say? Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
And I love, and so it's just, I'm like, I probably sound super cute to them too. So I just, I don't even worry about it.
Yeah. And most people are going to understand where you're trying to go in the context of whatever y'all are talking about. So yeah. Okay. That was good. So is there anything that's difficult for you now, especially since you mentioned you're not as immersed as you used to be, you're not using it as much. So what, are you finding anything difficult now to even remember? Or what's the challenge now?
I think the challenge now is getting out of my head in a different way. So, like I said, I like to try to put myself in a position to interact and use the language on a working basis. So I go to different restaurants and I may order in Spanish or do things like that. And I noticed maybe different receptions to that in different.
That's another question that's coming up.
Yeah. So, it's getting out of my head, like, should I?
I thought that was just me, Jenea. Thought it was
like, is it okay? Or are they gonna, look at me like they don't know what I'm talking about? And like, I'm like, I know, I know I'm saying that part correct. Like, don't just leave me hanging. So it's, yeah.
That was good. Okay. Let's see. Next up, how has learning Spanish benefited you personally, professionally, and or in another way?
Okay, baby, let's talk about the personal enrichment first. I never imagined it would open like my mind up to the thinking in different ways. So, for example, I'm able to learn another language allows you to understand concepts that don't exist in your language, concepts or constructs or different things like that. There are words that they have for things that we don't even talk about in our society or culture. And so it allows you to really get outside yourself in ways and open your thinking into a different way of life, a different way of living, a different way of thinking, a different perception of everything. And so I think it just, for me, it allows me to think on multidimensional levels.
That's good. Okay. Yeah, that was so nice. Now, okay, go ahead.
Professionally, it got baby girl a job, okay? So, trabajo como una analista de calidad bilingual para una empresa de tecnología internacional. So, I am a bilingual quality analyst for an international technology company. And I literally got that job because of the bilingual aspect of it. I did not have a prior background in the job that I'm working now, and my degree is in psychology. I do have a degree in Spanish, but it's the Spanish is what got me in there. So, hey, kiddos, if you have a skill, don't worry about them talking about you. When you better, baby, you cultivate all those skills and interests, because baby, skills pay the bills.
That's good. That's good. You got the skills to pay the bills. But I definitely like in your point that, like you mentioned, you weren't qualified, and even the degree you had didn't match the job. It's because of this skill you sought out and developed and cultivated. So that's the thing. It's I mean, they say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, but also sometimes it's about what you know is most important to the job. They don't care, oh, you have a degree in this? Oh, well, but you know this, and this is what we need. So kind of reminds me of how, like, what our, I guess, parents and grandparents, degrees used to not matter, but they just went by, okay, you're trainable. We like you for whatever reason. We'll teach you the job. Come on. That reminds me of that. Okay, good. Next up, people automatically assume that a person's gonna make a lot of money when they're bilingual. Like, that's what I hear a lot. Oh, you making that big money. Like, I'm gonna say big money is $100,000. have you found this to be true? Does a person just automatically make a lot of money? You mentioned you get a job, but I'm talking about like, does it mean you're automatically raking all the pesos? Yes or no? What are your thoughts on that?
No. No. And I will say I may have played myself a little as well, but no, I have not experienced it personally. We gonna speak it into existence, okay?
Yes,
We need to put other languages under our belt.
Somebody mentioned to me, because I talked to another Spanish speaker like, about this, who is, from the U.S. or, had to get immersed and learn. And they said maybe it's because we're in Arkansas, like maybe we go to a different state, it'll be more. So maybe that's it. But I just want everybody to know, no, just because somebody knows Spanish, will you make a couple dollars more on your job? Yes. But it doesn't mean you're going to be rolling over in the dough just because you know the language. It's still about going to the right positions, things like that.
Yes, make sure you ask for it. Like, know your worth and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Put that
yes,
there.
ma'am. Okay, next up, we're almost done. So this is what you mentioned earlier, and I already knew my experience. That's why I asked. How do Latinos respond when you start speaking Spanish?
It depends. It really does depend. Like I said, I've noticed in certain establishments, maybe like the establishment, they have maybe a couple of locations and things like that. They're kind of more established in the city and things like that. Like if I go in, it's almost like I'm speaking, like, how do I have the audacity? Like, who you think you are? Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
we definitely got that.
No need for that, and I'm just like, okay. So they don't seem to be interested in the cultural exchange. But I go to other places and, I kind of test the waters and I'll say, order, and they're like, oh, what, they don't need this. And so I'm like, oh, okay, okay, paciencia conmigo, español, pero, bueno, we're going to get it together. So it's been mixed, but overall, it hasn't been too bad.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Guys, and this is to Jenea and everybody else watching. My son just entered, so hopefully he will get on out. Oh, y'all, he looks so bad. His nose looks horrible. Oh, say hi.
Hi.
Diga hola. Hola?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Nope. Okay, not gonna say it. Never mind. All right, son. So next up, anything else though? So you pretty much, some people look at you like, how dare you? Some people say, yeah, girl, let's talk. Correct?
They let me order, and, they ask questions, and we talk about where I've been, where I lived, and, they know someone there, or have you been here? And, it's nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. For you to go. Adios. Or you can either act right or you can leave. Okay. All right, today. I'm almost done, and thank you for your patience throughout all the ups and downs today. Okay. So how do Black people or white, anybody else who's not Latino, respond? Mostly Black people. I think that's really interesting. But if you have experience with anybody else, so how do Black people and or other races respond when you start speaking Spanish?
So actually, before the pandemic, for a number of years, I worked for a nonprofit, and I've been like the foreign language tutor. And so my students, they come in, and I was late one year for the program because I was coming back from Brazil. And so I was meeting some of the new students, and one girl, she stopped me. She said, so you're the Spanish teacher? She looking at me, and I said, yes. And she said, you were in Brazil? And I said, yes. She said, they speak Spanish in Brazil? I said, no, they speak Portuguese. She said, you speak Portuguese? I said, yes. So what are you, Black? And that's probably the most memorable, like, reaction I've had from it, because I'm like, yes, baby, there are Black people that speak. And so that's what sparked me to educate on.
That's good.
Different Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking, the different Afro descendants of the world.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yes, ma'am. And I remember when I was even amazed, I didn't even know there were melanated people in Latin America.
Baby, I'm New
I
York culture shock.
I went to Costa Rica. That was the first place I went abroad. Went through my school and through my undergrad, Arkansas State. And we went there, and it was, people who look like European Americans, people like me, then folks, the brown. And I'm just like, where am I? I'm thinking everybody gonna be regular brown skin, looking like Mexicans. I know they sound bad, but that's why you gotta learn and grow. I was amazed. I mean, Latinos come in every shade.
And
my mind.
Like I was saying, in New York, I went to a private school, and so I wasn't expecting, to see a lot, of like in people. And when I got there, I did, and so that shocked me because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be all right. And then I heard him talk. Oh, wait a minute! I called my mom. I said, hey, what's going on? And so that was another, it piqued my curiosity because I had never experienced, not in an interactive type setting. So I was shocked. My mind was blown.
But this goes back to what you were just saying about how learning Spanish has really just allowed you to think on a multidimensional level. Goes back to that. Yes, ma'am.
Because that wasn't the norm for me. So now, I was able to learn.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. Own it. All right. Let's see. Hay dos preguntas más. What do you recommend for anybody who wants to learn the language? Whether it's that's in the school, an app, just what is a big piece of advice?
I would say take it seriously because it's something like it's like you're going to have to work it out. You're going to have to use it. So I would change my phone settings to your target language.
Yes, ma'am.
In your target language. I would start listening to music in your target language and just really figure out more about the culture and the things that fascinate you about it and really immerse yourself in it. Really commit to it. Get out of your comfort zone for a while to learn something new, learn something outside of yourself.
That's good. That's good. So just dive in pretty much. That's good. That's real good.
Dive in, learn some recipes. Eat food, learn the food. Go to the grocery store and figure out how to say all the things, and then just being very intentional. But yeah, the food that always gets me.
Yes, ma'am. And even with that, people need to know it's more than tacos, it's more than burritos.
Oh, yay.
That's another conversation, but just try some pozole. And I mean, that's just here because we most have Mexican joints, but other places they have a more variety of Latinos. So
they thought I was eating tacos in Spain. I'm like, guys, tacos.
Yes, it's more than tacos, guys. It's more than tacos. And then even the taco we eat, it's not the little taco the Mexicans eat. It's small and it's got some onion and it's different. So, all right. La última pregunta. It's not really even a question, but it's just there anything else you want to add before we end? A funny story? Anything else you want to say about your experience?
I don't know, I think I told all my funny stories.
Okay. All right, pues.
I will say, one thing that I do still struggle with, but I have learned that I'm probably most proud of is that I have learned to take up space in Spanish and in English. So I used to be very timid about using the language because I didn't feel like maybe it would be deemed as appropriate for me to do, or, people would ask, well, are you Hispanic, or do you have any Latino family, or do, what you doing?
That a lot. Yeah.
It would give people pause coming. So it would all kind of give me, but I'm like, no, this is something I'm interested in. I'm learning talking culture. I want to be able to communicate with people, all kinds of people. And so languages, that was just kind of my thing. And I had to learn to be comfortable taking up space and being like, yes, I speak Spanish. Like, it may be rusty at some point, but yes, I do. And yeah, that was my getting comfortable and getting to that point, taking up space in Spanish and English.
I like that. Oh, that's some good wording. Good, good. Okay, thank you. Muchísimas gracias, Jenea. Eso es todo para esta noche. Gracias por tu participación. Thank you to the viewers for watching. And please share it, like it, come back, regrese, próxima semana, come back for our next guest. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to leave Facebook Live alone, since I had several bad attempts on that tonight. All right. But thank you all for watching. And Jenea, gracias, gracias, gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Buenas noches.
Buenas. Oh.